Hello. Here is something you will never hear from your academic support director in law school, and you'll never hear it from Professor Tonsing. Did you get that? They're never going to tell you just once. Here's Professor Tonsing.
Today, I'd like to address three things. I think there are three. Let's see. First one is what you saw during that little introduction. I'm only going to say this once. Well, that's something you, I hope, don't hear from your academic support personnel at your law school. And it's something you won't hear from me. Why? Because we have to say it over and over. Why? Because college, university students coming into law school simply don't believe what we're telling them is true, it's important, and we all say pretty much the same thing. So listen up. Now, the second thing is I'm going to talk about a couple of things that are different between a couple of things are different. That means we get to three things, right? Between undergrad and law school. One of those is homework. You are probably used to, in most classes, doing homework. You may call it different things. They call it homework when you're in high school, but when you're in college or university, they call it projects or whatever, experiments. And what it is in undergrad is an assignment that you do outside of your class time, and then you turn it in. And your professor then gives you a grade, typically numerical or letter grade, and some feedback, typically, which helps you progress to the next step or the next level. Terrific. Those grades add up to some percent of your final grade at the end of the year. So, for example, you do 5 projects throughout the semester, you get A's on all of them, you get a C on your final exam, good chance you'll get a B for your final grade, something like that, right? Not in law school. That's extremely rare. What you find in law school is this. You get no homework of any kind, you get no projects of any kind, no assignments of any kind. Now, I'm leaving out one class, and that's your legal research writing class, sometimes called legal methods. We're talking now about torts, contracts, civil procedure, criminal law, criminal procedure, the courses you generally take in your first year. Your course grade is the score you get on your final exam. Typically, not always, a final exam is 3 essay questions within a 3-hour period. Sometimes you'll find there are multiple choice questions too, sometimes some other type of question, but predominantly that's what we're looking at. They're typically graded anonymously. So you get a score of 85, let's say, which in your school is a B. After the anonymous grading is done, sometimes professors are able to look at the grades, match them up with the people, and sometimes they'll bump that grade a little bit because of wonderful participation during class periods. That happens too. Primarily, predominantly, and nearly exclusively, your grade is the score you get on the final exam graded anonymously. You have not gotten feedback. You have not received any scores that will affect your final grade. This is what you're looking at, doing your very best on the final. Now, I will address what you're missing. That is, you're missing all that feedback. I looked up how to teach college and how to do it well on the internet, and I found a lot of tips, and they were including these. When, professor, you develop an assignment, I'm looking at notes here, develop clear assignment expectations before the assignment is handed out and share them with your students. Not in law school. That's not going to happen. For feedback, again, I'm looking at my notes. Homework allows students to apply effectively unlimited time and resources to any given problem, which can be an excellent way of testing whether, given appropriate time and resources, a student can apply their learning to more difficult problems. We don't do that in law school. That is what you do yourself. One of the things we're teaching you is how to be a lawyer. Lawyers do these things themselves. They make sure they're at the top of their game before they walk into trial, before they walk into an appellate argument, before they walk into the board meeting to give their legal opinion to the board members, before they speak with their client to address whether or not the criminal charge is probably going to be dismissed or whether they're doing a minimum of 20 years in prison. The idea is what we're teaching in law school is not just the substance. We're also teaching how to do these things. And after all those years of college, where they taught you very well a lot of stuff, one of the things we're teaching you now is how to teach yourself. That is another big difference between law school and college. Are there more? Yeah, I'll address those later.
There are so many differences between undergrad and law school and between graduate school and law school that a student needs to know of and prepare for. Those differences come so fast that many students report feelings of being overwhelmed in their first few weeks. Do what you can to avoid that feeling. Start practicing law from the first day of law school in order to excel, to do your personal best. Thank you for joining us. Goodbye.